to touch on just a heinous situation. It has not gotten an ounce of coverage, I believe, outside of some of the pro-life circles. There was a study which really confirms a second study that was done in India, and this examines abortion in India and really uses some interesting data. This is done by the Guttmacher Institute in New York, so they're a very pro-abortion group. There's no reason for them to make up data, manipulate data. They actually examine the study differently, evaluating legally approved facilities and the purchase of abortion pills. You won't believe the stats here, folks. 80% of abortions are using those type of drugs. So a lot of the data is not correlating with the reporting. In fact, this study now confirms a separate 2017 study that 15.6 million children were aborted in 2015. 15.6. That is 20% more than previous reports. It's just absolutely incredible. 14% were performed surgically in clinics, and 5% is unknown. And I think when we examine the data, I believe this is an older video slide that we have here from a couple years ago, talked about up to 12 million girls were aborted over the last 3 decades. Well, obviously that number is incredibly low, and as shocking as 12 million is, 15.6 in 2015 alone. That is just an incredible number. We have a slide on that on the data there. It breaks it down for the procedures. You can see how this was a study. This is the other study we were referring to in 2017. You can see 80%. It says 81% is an abortion pill related. Obviously, the 14 is surgical, and the 5% other. So, just an incredibly shocking story. Then, what makes it worse is you start to evaluate the press that came out of the Guttmacher Institute, because India does have a very interesting, very similar to America, abortion laws up to about 20 weeks. So there's all sorts of exemptions for her health, for rape, being a single mother. There's all sorts of different things there. The laws is considered, quote, the most liberal of its kind in Asia. Abortions between 12 and 20 weeks usually require 2 doctors' approvals for things that are over that. So it really is, very in line with American and Western cultures. It is not a very strong pro-abortion thing. You would think with 15.6, that's the direction they want to go. You think that with this many abortions, that would be the direction that the people were advising for. In fact, that is not what the policy they're pushing for. They're actually pushing to broaden the scope, making abortion easier to get into hospitals because they're focusing on that 5%, not the actual overall number. No, they want to make sure that it's easier for these folks to get abortion pills and get into clinics to get abortions, deal with that 5%. It is just shocking that we're not having a healthy conversation about the 15.6 million abortions out of India. It is a staggering number. LifeSite News made a mention in their evaluation of this study. It says because of India's large population size, and it says it points out that the pregnancy rate is actually comparable to that of Nepal, Bangladesh, but lower than that of Pakistan. But think about that, 15.6 million in India. If the rate is very similar in Bangladesh and Nepal, how many millions and upon millions of these children are being aborted that we don't even have the correct data on? And if we know that it's 80% of abortion pills, and we've made these pills available on college campuses in vending machines, for the love of Pete, it is evil beyond evil.